All right, guys, today's video is a little bit different. I have some of the best friends in the knife community that a guy could ever ask for. And I'm currently playing middleman on some Frank Fischer knives. Well, one Frank Fischer knife in particular that was sold by Tristan to Anthony, coming to me. And because I have that knife, plus one that Tristan loaned me, plus a couple that Anthony has loaned me because we're doing some horse trading, which you may have seen in a previous video, I figured why not just do a Fischer family bonanza here and talk about the Fischers that I own and the Fischers that are just here on loan. All right, so if you don't want to see some completely badass custom knives, then you can click off. But if you want to see some amazing knives, then just keep watching. These are going to be in no particular order other than this one as the first Fischer that I got in my collection. The rest are just going to be randomly picked up off of the table over there. They're not all going to fit in the screen, but we shall see what we can do to group them and whatnot. So this is from Todd Fischer Sr. This is the Archangel. It's the first Fischer knife that I ever bought, and I bought it from Tristan a 3 years ago. And I was just so impressed, so excited. This is in kind of that overbuilt, chunky realm that was super popular back then. And I had just come off of carrying a bunch of Medfords at the time. So this was no big thing to me. Okay, carbon fiber, CPM 154 blade, I believe. You know, just basic. It did have a few scratches when I got it. Mostly here on the clip, had been worn. I think my jeans put these little scratches in. I don't really care. All of my knives get carried and used. It has the engine turning on the inside. And we're not going to go into details on all of the knives, but you know, this one got a lot of use. The blade needs a little bit of work. There's some chips up here because this one just got carried a lot at the time. Not so much anymore just because I have a bunch of cool knives. So this one doesn't get as much pocket time as maybe it should because it's really an awesome knife. I'm just going to grab some here off the table. Like I said, this is the Frank Fischer Fury. This was not the second knife I've got. Again, I don't remember exactly which order I got all these. I did buy this from Luck Knives, Mike. And at the time he was in Vegas. Now he is in Utah. And just super cool. It is on the smaller side for me. It does fit in the hand. Works really well. Love the Sanmai blade. The pocket clip is very slim and sleek. Frank went through a period where he wanted the pocket clips to look like a pen clip in your pocket and not be just this big gaudy clip. So he made a bunch with very slim, sleek looking clips. I mean, what can you say? This thing is just awesome. And I had to have it. Took a while. Mikey kept trying to sell it. We finally came to a price. Like, I think he tried to sell it 3 times before I ended up buying it. And yeah, I'm super happy. So I've got Todd Fischer Sr. and I've got Frank, who's the youngest son. So I had to have something from Todd Fischer Sr., Todd Fischer Jr., TJ. This is the Cobra. This was not the first Cobra that I had. The first Cobra I had was more of what TJ called his semi-custom run. He basically did a run of 10 just standard Cobras. You didn't really get to choose anything. If you wanted one, you ordered one and you got it in a few months. And I think it was a little bit bigger than this one. This is his next version, the smaller version, if I remember. It's been a while. I'm going to put down in the description a link to my Todd Senior playlist, my TJ playlist, and my Frank Fischer playlist. This is what he calls his half dresser because it's standard titanium scales, white Cerakote, sand my blade, sand my pocket clip, and polished perimeters. I think it's a super cool knife. I carried this a lot. I bought this from Chris. I think we horse traded some stuff, and I ended up with this. And at the time, it was kind of one of my more fancy knives, and I carried it a lot. It was like my fancy daily carry. So super, super cool. All right, so then let's just jump into the battles. And if I can grab the right one here. The Frank Fischer battle had been my grail knife ever since I saw Jim Skelton do a video on his plain Jane carbon fiber one. It was my grail. I needed a battle. I love the shape of the blade, the shape of the scale. Like everything about this, I love. So my buddy George was, he owned this one, and he and I were friends, and we talked a lot, and he actually got me into the Fischers by loaning me the prototype Cobra, by loaning me a Launch, a Kamehameha. So he loaned me a bunch of real heavy hitters that I did videos on years ago. And I told him if he ever was going to get rid of this one, to let me know. Well, one day, he's like, hey, I think I'm going to sell it. I want X amount for it. You want it? I said, can you wait a little bit for me to get all the money together? He goes, yeah, as long as you need, man. So I think in about a month's time, we kind of did we didn't do any trading. Like I sent him some money that day and said, hey, I want it for sure. Here's some money to hold it and make sure, just so you know that I am legit. And I paid him off, and he sent me this one. I never knew that my grail knife would be such an exotic one. And I don't remember the details of all of the materials here, but let's just zoom in real quick on this one because this one is amazing. Frank is really known for his custom pivots. I mean, the fit and finish on this, you cannot feel seams. It's just beautiful. Sand my backspacer to match the blade. Like, there's just nothing about this I don't love. I wish the action was a little bit better, but the original owner who commissioned this knife didn't want it drop shut. They wanted it the way they wanted it. So it is a little bit tighter than I would prefer, but it works well, and I'm not really complaining. It is definitely a shaker shutter, okay? It is not a drop shutter or even a smooth shutter like that one. All right, so let's keep going here because now we're like 8 minutes. I hope you guys hang out because there's just cool stuff. Okay, let's go with another Cobra. This one is Anthony's. This is the sheep's foot blade. It's got a little bit of dust on it. Super crazy hollow grind, but just pretty plain-ish. Nothing too fancy. But this is a super good daily carry. Now, what's great about this is it matches the Launch that he owned this one first. These are both from TJ Fischer. He owned this Launch first, and he recently bought this one because it's a really good match. Nice hollow grinds, just darkened titanium scales, blue pivot collars. Well, blue pivot collar, blued pivot. Clips are different, but it's okay. They're a pretty good match. Well, fast forward a little bit, and Anthony bought this old school battle. This is from like 2014-ish, 2015-ish. The battle design was created in 2013. So you can see from 2013, we don't even know the dates of all of these, but he's kind of evolved and elevated himself with materials and even with fit and finish. So when Anthony bought this one and had it sent to me to film, I had to hunt out an old school one. So I did. And I found this one. Sanmai. Not a compound grind blade like this one. However, this one, it's more just the darkened titanium, polished scales. It really kind of matched the Launch and the Cobra. So Anthony and I made a trade, this one for this one. So this one is now mine. Oops. And this one is now Anthony's that matches his collection here that I'm scratching all up. Oh well. Again, these are just knives, guys. And it sort of matches. It does not have the blue on the pivot, but other than that, it works. Okay? So, there we go. A couple of old school battles, which are great. And the beauty of it is every battle is slightly different. You can see the one on the right is much thinner. The one on the left is a bit thicker. Pocket clips are slightly different, and they work in your pocket a little bit different. And the action is different. Every battle I have picked up has been slightly different. Now we're going to have to move some off of the screen because we're just taking up all of the room, which is fine, and we've got a few more to go. Let's go with this mini battle. This one is mine. I bought this from Eric, and at Blade Show West 2023, I actually got to meet the original owner of this. He was there. He was showing me something on his Instagram. I said, wait a second, scroll down. I go, that's cool. He goes, oh yeah, I sold that to Eric. I'm like, yeah, well, I bought it from Eric. I got it. So I did not have this one at Blade West. However, it was super cool that I did have this one. So he and I got to talk. I got to hear the story of how this one was built and why. So it even holds a more special place in my heart. And this one, I think, gets carried, well, way more than that one, just because it's lighter, smaller, easier to carry, and costs just a little bit less. I just can't get over the battles. The battles are awesome. All right. Speaking of carbon fiber plain Jane battles, I recently bought this one myself, compound grind, really plain Jane, little pop of color on the pivot collars and the clip. This one is by far the one that gets carried the most as of today. Much slimmer because it's a bolster lock. It can be thinner. Action is amazing. This came from Tim up in Canada. With this, because it's Canada, I also got these pivot tools. Tim bought this brand new from Frank. Because he's in Canada, you had to take them apart to ship it. So Frank made him these tools so that he could assemble it when it got to Canada. Super cool that I was able to get the whole package. And this one's just awesome. This is a reminiscent of Jim Skelton's original one. And so for that fact, I kind of like it as well. Frank also makes some fixed blades. And I have a fixed battle here that he made me because I sent this one in for a spa. There was a little problem, and I won't go into that. He had it for a really long time. We chatted back and forth. There was just some stuff. Because of the weight, he slapped this together for me real quick and included this when he sent the battle back. And he told me, he goes, look, it's just AEBL. I didn't have time to make a sheath. I wanted to just get it back to you. And the carbon fiber scales, there's some chips and some ding. This is not, he goes, just use it. Just use it. Give it to your kid, something. I use it sometimes. I had a sheath made for it. Don't love the sheath. And the sheath's okay. I'd like to get a different sheath, but it's such a unique shape that some sheath makers are like, yeah, dude, I can't do it. So, but a fixed battle is just pretty cool. It's just great to have in my lineup. Okay? So fast forward to Frank not being able to make knives right now. So Todd Sr. said, well, I know how to make a battle. Like it was designed in my shop. How about I make some and put that money aside for Frank for when he is able to make knives again. So this is the prototype battle that Todd Sr. made. And I helped him kind of promote it a little bit. And then there was an online auction. And I bid about an hour before the end of the auction. I think I was one of the early bidders to kind of get it going. And much to my surprise, I did not get outbid. My intent truly was just to keep the momentum going because there hadn't been a bid in a while. I figured, well, if I bid, it'll bring it back to the top and someone will outbid me. Nope. So I ended up with the prototype battle from Todd Sr. And I couldn't be happier. And I've done a video comparing the two. There are some differences. There's a blade shape difference, the flipper tab difference, like a fit and finish different. Like they're both great. Frank's is a little more contoured and smoothed out around the edges. So it's a little more comfortable in hand, but nothing wrong with this one from Todd Sr. either. And I love it as well. Okay. I love every single one that I have because if I didn't, well, I wouldn't have bought them. One more battle. This one is going to Anthony with the launch and the Cobra and the old school battle that I bought and we're trading. This one he bought from Tristan. Because he bought it from Tristan is why I have all of these knives here, because Tristan sent it to me so that I could film and share and play middleman. What's cool about this, and you didn't even notice until after he kind of bought it, is it's a mother of pearl pivot collars. Super, super cool. The coloring on this one is just amazing, and it's really not showing well in video even. The blade is just beautiful. The fit and finish is exquisite as you would expect and always is. It's just great. All right, so when I bought this one, the owner also had this. It is just a scrap piece of Damascus that Frank turned into a pointy, stabby thing. Nothing special, but just cool. It's the PST. Not many people have these, so I had to have this also, which I think is super cool. One other thing that he had is he had a little titanium bottle opener from Frank. Again, nothing special. Little keychain thing, but just cool. As an avid collector and fan, it's cool to have these little trinkets that weren't made for sale. They were made for friends. They were just made and handed out, things like that. So I thought that was super cool. And he included that little keychain bottle opener for free. I didn't even know that he was going to include this. He had a couple things in a picture. I said, I'll take the little pointy stabby thing. I opened up the box when it got to me, and this was in the bottom. So yeah, super cool. All right, one last one here. I hope you've made it to the end. This is the King battle that is owned by Tristan. This is currently in his keeper status. I hope to one day have this one because it is the King, and it would round out my size trifecta. Small, medium, large. Really, we could call it mini, standard, extra large. The thing about Frank is there is about 12 different sizes of battles, give or take, in talking with him. Between slim ones, thicker ones, liner locks, frame locks, bolster locks, smaller, medium, just different lengths. This is like a 4¼ inch blade, give or take. I love this one probably the most because of the dark etching. I have no problem with kind of the brighter etch, but I would prefer the dark. The dark etch really just does it more for me. I think the blue pops more. I don't know. What do you guys think? So Tristan loaned me this. I did not realize this was going to be in the box. We had talked about loaning this to me, as well as me loaning him my Tim Gallion. So when I do send this back to him, I will include my Tim Gallion so that he can carry that and check it out for a while. He did tell me, go ahead and carry it. He carries this one a lot. That's one of the reasons why he's not selling it, which I understand. And I don't blame him. I hope one day he will. But you never know, right? And that's okay. So, guys, this was just really just show and tell of different things that were out there. Some in my collection, some not. Really just trying to share and kind of memorialize my time with these, I believe, 14 Fischers that happened to be at my house at the same time. So they will be shipping off to their rightful owners here shortly. But if you have questions or comments, please leave them down below. If you've made it this far, comment King or King Battle or KB down in the comments so I know that you made it to the end, because you don't want to miss seeing this guy. Yeah. Out of all of these, I think this one is maybe my favorite. For daily carry, this one is my favorite. But yeah, the battle model is truly my grail. Since I've bought a grail, since I bought this one, my collecting has absolutely changed. I have not really lusted after anything since I bought this one, like 3 years ago now, at the time of filming. So yeah, it does change you. I think we use the term grail too often. And I've done a video about that before as well, and probably will again. But anyway, there you go, guys. The Fischer family fantastic collection that happens to be with me for the moment. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have questions, again, please let me know. Have yourselves a fantastic day, and thank you very, very much for sticking around to the end.